You wake up every morning surrounded by noise, notifications, opinions, distractions, endless thoughts pulling you in every direction, and before your feet even touch the ground, your mind already owns you. You think you're in control, but you're not. You are a slave to impulse, to reaction, to every fleeting thought that flashes through your head. You scroll, you compare, you react, and little by little, you lose command of the only empire that truly belongs to you, your mind. This is the greatest illusion of modern life. We think we are free because no one is telling us what to do, but most of us live in chains built by our own thoughts. The Stoics understood this long before the noise of social media, before chaos was digitized and sold back to us as entertainment. They saw the same war within. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But most people never realize it. They live and die without ever knowing that their greatest enemy was never the world. It was their own undisciplined mind. Every weakness begins there. Every failure, every fear, every destructive emotion. When the mind is uncontrolled, it becomes a tyrant. It drags you through cycles of anger, envy, doubt, and regret, all while whispering that you're the victim. The Stoic path is the opposite. It's the rebellion of the soul against chaos. It's the decision to take back the throne of your inner world. Stoicism doesn't ask you to escape emotion. It commands you to master it. To look at your rage, your fear, your sadness and say, "You are not my master, I am." This is not about being cold. It's about being in command. Because the moment you let emotion drive your life, you've already surrendered your freedom. The man who cannot control his thoughts is not free, no matter how much money, power, or fame he has. He's just another prisoner with a prettier cage. Think about how much of your life has been ruled by reactions. How many times have you said something you didn't mean because anger took over? How many nights have you lost sleep replaying something you couldn't change? How many decisions have you made out of fear rather than reason? Every one of those moments is proof. Your mind is controlling you, but it doesn't have to. The Stoics taught that we cannot stop thoughts or emotions from arising, but we can decide what to do with them. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer, the commander, the sculptor shaping them into something greater. And that power, the power to pause, to breathe, to respond instead of react, is what separates the weak from the disciplined. Seneca said, "You suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of your pain isn't happening in the real world, it's happening in your head. You've turned your mind into a battlefield of what-ifs and if-onlys. You rehearse pain that hasn't even happened yet. You worry about people who don't think about you. You replay words that were said years ago. You live more in your fears than in your life. Stoicism demands that you stop. It tells you to pull your mind back from the fog of illusion and anchor it in the present, because the present is the only place power exists. The past is gone. The future isn't real. Control begins now. Control doesn't mean suppressing what you feel. It means directing it. Anger can be transformed into action. Fear can be turned into awareness. Sadness can teach you empathy. But you must first stand at the gate of your mind like a disciplined guardian. Every thought that enters, you question it. Does this serve me? Does this help me live by virtue, by reason, by purpose? If not, you let it pass. You don't feed it, you don't fight it. You simply watch it die. That's the essence of mental strength. You're not fighting the storm. You're learning to remain unmoved while it rages around you. Most people think discipline is about external habits. Waking up early, working hard, being consistent. But real discipline begins internally. You can wake up early and still be weak if your mind owns you. You can work 12 hours a day and still be lost if your thoughts control your emotions. The Stoic discipline is different. It's not about perfection, it's about command. It's about training your mind to obey you instead of control you. You tell it when to focus, when to rest, when to fight, when to let go. You become the commander, not the soldier. The reason most people feel miserable is because they've never built this inner command. They chase control in the outer world, careers, relationships, possessions, but leave their inner world in ruins. They try to organize their surroundings but ignore the chaos within. The Stoic flips that equation. He starts from the inside out. He controls his perception, his attitude, his reaction, and by mastering himself, he ends up mastering everything else. That's why the Stoic walks through life calm, composed, unshaken. Not because life is easy, but because his mind is trained to remain steady when others panic. There's a quiet power in a person who doesn't react. When the world yells, they stay silent. When others panic, they observe. When insulted, they smile. When tested, they remain centered. That's not weakness, that's control. Because true power is not in dominating others, it's in dominating yourself. The man who conquers himself needs no validation. No one can humiliate him because he's already faced his own darkness. No one can manipulate him because his peace doesn't depend on anyone else. He's free, truly free. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, betrayal, and the death of his own children, yet wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." That's what mastery looks like. Calm in the face of fire, rationality in the face of chaos. You can't stop pain from entering your life, but you can stop it from destroying your peace. Every day, the Stoic wakes up and says, "Today I will meet interference, ingratitude, arrogance, deceit, jealousy, selfishness. They are all tests of my discipline." That mindset doesn't make him cold, it makes him untouchable. And this is where you have to decide. Are you going to keep being a servant to your impulses, or are you going to take your throne back? Every time you let emotion dictate your choices, you step down from the throne of your own life. Every time you react out of anger, you hand power to the very thing that hurt you. But every time you pause, breathe, and choose reason, you build a fortress inside yourself that nothing can breach. That's what the Stoics were building. Not theories, not quotes, but inner empires. So, control your mind before it controls you. When fear comes, don't fight it. Understand it. When anger rises, don't react. Analyze it. When sadness visits, don't drown in it. Learn from it. The goal isn't to silence your emotions. The goal is to master the space between feeling and action, because that space is where power lives. You can lose everything, your job, your friends, your health, but if you don't lose control of your mind, you've lost nothing. Because the man who commands his thoughts commands his world. And one day, when everything around you is chaos, when people panic, when systems fail, when the noise becomes unbearable, you will stand there calm, collected, and unshaken. Not because life got easier, but because you mastered the hardest thing a human being can ever master, yourself. That is Stoic discipline.